Are you a woman in the corporate world, striving to break barriers, challenge unconscious bias, and lead the way for women in leadership roles globally? If so, this is the podcast for you. Introducing Leading Ladies Who Lunch. The lunch hour is usually the time when colleagues get together for real, honest conversations about work, life, and everything in between. In each episode of Leading Ladies Who Lunch, we'll delve into insightful discussions and share actionable strategies to help you navigate corporate life. Co-hosted by me, Cece George, a leadership development architect and inspirational speaker. I'm thrilled to share my experience and expertise on leadership, mentorship, and organizational intelligence to help you own your career.
And me, Rachel Lowndes, CEO and founder, imposter syndrome expert, and mindset coach at Rachel Lowndes Coaching and Consulting. Passionate about helping women conquer imposter syndrome and unleash their inner confidence to get the recognition and promotions they deserve.
Jam-packed with insightful conversations, expert advice, and inspiring stories from a diverse group, we'll explore how to overcome obstacles, shatter those glass ceilings, and build unshakable mindsets to unlock your true potential. So whether you're sipping a coffee or enjoying a meal at your desk, tune in for a no-host bar lunchtime chat. Episodes will be dropped every 2 weeks. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Leading Ladies Who Lunch, empowering women, one conversation at a time.
Hello, and welcome back to the Leading Ladies Who Lunch podcast. Rachel, it's always so good to see you. What's going on?
Hey, Cece, I'm really good, thanks. It's, end of year. Very exciting. I can't believe it's New Year's Eve already. Wow. 2025 is basically here.
Weird.
Now, do you remember the idea of like 2025 being like forever away? Like the most futuristic idea ever. Like 2025 is going to be dominated by robots, which kind of is, and flying skateboards for sure, right? So we can thank Back to the Future for that because they haven't delivered, and that's very disappointing.
Yeah, I think we are a little bit dominated by robots. I mean, there's robot mops and vacuums, and even a robot kitty litter cleaner. I mean, we're basically being served by robots and artificial intelligence. So that's no surprise there.
Yeah.
But I actually, when I was a kid, I did think by 2025 it would be such a futuristic, highly advanced technological state. Everyone was going to be flying around and going to work in drones,
Yeah.
while all the cars collect dust.
Cars, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of crazy that we're going to be counting down to 2025 in just a few hours. I mean, how exciting.
Very exciting. Have you got any plans for New Year's Eve, or are you more of a New Year's Day person?
It's interesting. I think that my answer to that question has definitely changed as I've gotten older. When I was in my late teens and 20s, I used to love going out to parties on New Year's Eve, get together with the friends and just go out and really usher in the new year with a big bang.
Mm-hmm.
And because I partied on New Year's Eve, we never really did anything on New Year's Day. And I just felt like it was kind of a depressing day. I mean, when I was a kid, New Year's Day meant that you just had to prepare for school the next day. So that wasn't really exciting. And it was just a reminder that the holidays are over and everyone is home sulking. And occasionally my parents would get together with another family and just have lunch or dinner, and that made it less depressing. But, as I've gotten older, and certainly because I have my own family, I do prefer doing something small and intimate on New Year's Eve. And then I can do a whole reset on New Year's Day, clean out the clutter, get super organized, and start the year out strong. So that's kind of how I prefer to spend that time. But what about you, Rachel? Do you go out on New Year's Eve, or do you keep it low key on New Year's Day?
Well, to be honest, I'm not a massive New Year's Eve person. Like you, like in my, early 20s, early 30s, I would go out and, celebrate. And they have obviously the massive fireworks here in Australia. So that's, I've done that a couple of times.
Ooh.
But it's an absolute nightmare to get around in Sydney on New Year's Eve. Like everywhere's
Okay.
closed, you can't get a cab, it's just full on, and I cannot be bothered with crowds. So I'm definitely not a New Year's Eve person. They do like fireworks locally. I can walk down to the beach and watch them. They're very, very good. So I go for them, the 9 o'clock ones, and then I
Sure.
come home and I literally go to bed because I like to get up for sunrise on New Year's Day and welcome the new year
Oh,
in with the sunrise, a bit of meditation, a bit of journaling. So that's kind of
wow.
yeah, I've done that for the last few years. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that you wake up early to catch the sunrise and usher in the new year that way. That's really nice. And I've only seen the fireworks in Sydney on TV. It's been actually something on the bucket list to go spend New Year's Eve and watch all that from down under. So, hopefully one of these years we'll finally be able to make that a reality.
Yeah, she
Um,
definitely they are amazing. Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I've heard just so many amazing things about that. So, but
Mm.
don't get me wrong, I do love the holidays. I'm a little bit sad that it's past us, because I love decorating for Christmas and doing the whole big family Christmas party with the lights and the music and the food.
Mm.
Even, I do like online shopping. I hate standing in lines, but I do like online shopping just to say I can score a really good bargain deal because I'm such a bargain deal shopper. So I get those bragging rights.
I mean, I legit hate shopping. I definitely hate being like out shopping. I mean,
Mm,
even online shopping, I only go on there if I really need something. I think a lot of people do
right.
just get right, scroll for days, doom scrolling on the shopping and buying stuff they don't really need. Um, so yeah, it's probably why I miss out on so many bargains online. So I'm like, I'm not really aware of when sales things are, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, I absolutely hate waiting online for anything. So in-person shopping is really, I'm not about that. I like to avoid those crazy long ass lines at all costs. But
Yeah.
it's kind of nice that we're past all that and we're just ready to welcome in this brand new year. I mean, I'm super excited and I feel like it's just mind-blowing. So, in our last episode, we talked about reflecting on 2024 and doing that inventory of what you're proud of or what really made you happy about the year that you thought the year was so amazing.
Mhm.
And, however you look at that and identify what you are proud of, it's personal and it's absolutely up to you. So I think, friends, you just have to remember don't fall into that compare and despair and now that the new year is literally upon us, this is the time to have a plan for making 2025 even better. So,
Mhm.
if you haven't officially started a practice of reflecting on the previous year and then making a plan for the new one, guess what? This is your signal to officially start. Once you do that, you'll see how you're progressing year after year. And truly, seeing that on paper is really inspiring and absolutely encouraging.
Oh yeah, totally. So, as you say in the last episode, we did discuss the purpose of reflection and we gave you some tips on that. So I think when it comes to these New Year rituals, which a lot of us kind of, we set New Year's resolutions, which let's face it, don't work. There's a
Yep.
couple of things that I really like to do. So um, I do that reflection piece that we talked about in episode 27 to reflect on what I've achieved or learned in the previous 12 months so I can really celebrate myself and understand, what could I have done differently? Because I think it's really important to understand that part too. Like, yes,
Right.
celebrate everything that you've achieved and done, but also understand, well, what could I have done differently so that I can then change that in the coming year? I know that's a really important step, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to set myself an intention word for the year. Now, this is a common
Ooh.
practice. You might not have heard of it. Some people have, I don't know. But each year I find a word or maybe two words that are going to
Mm-hmm.
underpin what I want to embody for the coming year, right? It's kind of setting the scene, if you like. So last year I had wealth and growth. And, I grew exponentially in my business. I generated wealth in ways I never expected. A lot of that was about wealth in my network, wealth in my learning, wealth in what I'm doing. I paid off my mortgage, all these things happened, right? So there was a lot of wealth and a lot of growth going on. So that was like, all of that was really unexpected, but I did obviously like set the scene for myself with that. And this year I've decided to go with the word expand. Okay,
Mm,
because last year I had wealth and growth, and whilst I didn't exponentially get rich, right, I did grow a lot, gained a lot of knowledge, as I said. So I
sure.
kind of I was aligned to what I wanted to set out and achieve. My actions aligned with the words that I wanted to embody throughout the year. So this year I really want to expand that network even further, my knowledge even
Mm,
further, my services, my business. I really want to level up and expand this
nice.
this podcast as well. And again, this is going to require me to push myself even further. But
Mhm.
I do really enjoy the process of doing that now. I think that's been a really good practice for me over the years. Like I've reiterated different types of words. Trust was one year, that kind of thing. And it's really, I think it's a really good practice. And then finally, I always write myself a gratitude letter for December 31st for the coming year. So I write down all of the amazing things that I've achieved and how grateful I am for that. This is also called scripting. So you script what's going to happen in your future. It's like an energetic
Mhm.
type of thing. So I do that on sunrise on New Year's Day when I go down and journal. And I just love bringing the new year in this way. I feel it really sets the tone for what's going to happen. Like basically setting those goals that I want to achieve. So that's kind of what I do. What about yourself?
Oh, I love that. I really love that gratitude piece too. The fact that you write yourself a letter and you kind of thank yourself. We
Yeah.
don't often thank ourselves. We're so good about thanking other people and servicing others, but we don't
Well, it's
actually
thanks
take
to
the
the
time
universe,
for
really.
that.
Like, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'm a little bit newer at this process, but I agree with you on the reflection piece, and
Mm,
not just about reflecting on what, like you said, what you're proud of or what you accomplished, because that is important, but also
mm,
reflecting, I what you said resonated with me, the reflection about what you learned
mm,
and even what you could have done better or done differently, not necessarily better, but just done differently,
mm.
so thinking about whether it's have to do with work or situations that came up in your life, and thinking about how you handle things or how you approach things and the outcomes of it all, just thinking about how things could have been differently,
Yeah.
and having that as like part of your ongoing learning and growth. I also love that you gave yourself a theme for the year. I didn't know that about you, so it's really fun to learn something new about you all the time, every time you speak. If I had to think about what my theme for the year is, and not that I set an intentional word for myself, like you're saying, but as I've been thinking about, as we're leading into 2025, something that I really want to focus on is growth and just growing, and
Mm,
growing in terms of my mindset, so how I look at things and remembering to stay curious, not
mm,
to come from a place of maybe defensiveness or maybe having a preemptive assumption about something, but staying curious, tell me more.
mm,
And growth in terms of opportunities, going after opportunities, whether it's career moves or experiences, like getting in front of people and speaking. I do have some plans and some exciting things lined up already, so I'm excited for that.
great.
And also grow in terms of my reach, and I say reach in terms of a few things: how I give back and reach out to people. So, how I give back in terms of, the people that I'm mentoring, the people that I'm coaching, the people that I'm trying to connect. So, I'm also very big about being a connector. And recently, I had a friend come to me and just tell me a little bit about her job search and how difficult it was for her. And
Mm,
this woman, she's absolutely fantastic. I will always advocate for her because she's extremely talented. And the second I left that conversation, I immediately went into my roster within my network to see who
yeah.
I can connect her to. And
Mm,
I swiftly drafted up an email and sent it over to my friend and said, hey, listen, this person is someone I would highly recommend. Is there someone that you could connect her to or introduce based on her, what she's looking for? Or can you make some time to have a potential, exploration of careers conversation with her.
Mhm.
And I just want to do more of that because I have a pretty decent network and I just want to be able to, again, grow my reach. And that's how I look to inspire and impact, influence people.
Yeah,
So,
you're adding value by doing that to them. And I think that's really important as
yeah,
working like value exchange. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes,
yeah, how can I be a value
yes.
person? Yeah, great.
I
Love that.
do think you have to use your social capital,
Yeah.
and not only because it does come back to you, but it demonstrates the quality of how you are as a person. And I really do believe in selfless giving. So I just want to give back.
Mm.
I feel fortunate in the opportunities I've been given, and I just want to provide that for others as well. So that's why I'm using growth in that way.
Mhm.
Uh, and there's that saying, when you fail to plan, you actually plan to fail. And I
Mhm.
think that's so applicable in a lot of different ways. If you were training for a marathon, you would probably need a training plan. Otherwise, on marathon day, you might end up a little disappointed and a whole lot tired.
Probably
I
me.
remember when I was, right? I remember when I was training for the half marathon many, many years ago, I spent some time Googling and researching sample training plans because it was something I never did before.
Mm.
But it was a goal that I had to run
Right.
a half marathon at least once in my life.
Mm.
So I
Never.
finally decided that was going to be the year I did it. And I did that research and I found a sample training plan that I felt like was doable for me. And I gave myself a good 6 to 7 months to train and properly prepare for that marathon. And
Mm.
because I had a plan, I didn't fail. I met my goal of what I wanted to accomplish on that day. And for me, that was the best example of what having a plan can do to help
Mm.
you reach your goal.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, good for you. I mean, I would rather die than do a marathon, I'll be honest with you. Like, literally, like, I know me. And I've got friends who run marathons, and I'm like, never am I ever going to run them. I've got no desire to do something like that. Literally none.
I
So,
only did it once.
yeah, exactly. It's like, I've done it. I'm never doing that again. So, good.
Yes.
Well done. I think I think it's good to set goals for the year, obviously, and have a plan. But personally, I think like I don't know about you, but like for me, working in 90-day blocks is an approach that I find works really well because I think we can get super overwhelmed with like the goals and they can feel like far away and feel too big. And so I think if we break them down into 90-day blocks, it's a really good way to kind of actually
Mhm.
achieve that goal. And that's again part of the plan, I suppose, isn't it? So you figure out what you want to really achieve this year and then maybe limit that to 2 or 3 goals because we don't again you can't achieve everything in one at once, right? And
Right.
then break it down into what you want when you want to achieve them by, and then look at what you can achieve in the next 90 days based on whatever that goal is, and break that down into
Mhm.
smaller goals and then smaller steps that you're doing like on a monthly, weekly, daily basis, and that becomes your plan, like as what's his name? James, what's his face in the Atomic Habits book? James Clear, is it?
Oh,
I think it's James Clear. He
I
talks about the 1% incremental change, which is like what you actually, you make an effort every day to work towards what you want to be doing. Otherwise, it's never going to happen because it all compounds
right.
over time.
Right.
And if you do this kind of thing, then in fact you really only need to set a few key goals across the year and not overwhelm yourself with a wish list that you're just never going to achieve, right? And that's literally what New Year's Eve resolutions are: set of wishes that you're never going to achieve. Right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I really hate like the whole idea of New Year's resolutions. One, because no one ever accomplishes anything. What is the number one New Year's resolution? I want to lose weight. You hear that all the time. It's on everyone's wish list. But maybe there's a different way of looking at that. Maybe instead of I want to lose weight is I want to work on healthy habits and
Yeah,
decide what
reframe
those
it.
healthy habits are,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But I think when you start to have this roster of 8, 9, 10 goals, for one year, for 12 months, it actually, again, it's overwhelming. And unless you're a super hyper organized person who works like 15 hours a day
Mhm.
and you just don't sleep, maybe that's doable. I don't know. I don't think that's a healthy approach to live. I think you need to factor in time to give yourself a mental break. But I do agree with you that having, a couple of, really passionate goals set aside and then making plans, even having small habits to help you reach that, as you say, in 90-day blocks can definitely, go a long way. I think, as with anything, if you're consistent, that will be really key for you.
Yeah,
So
I
when
love.
I,
Yeah.
I think about wrapping up this year, and I'm saying this out loud to you just as a reminder for myself. So here's how I'm approaching 2025.
Mm.
I'm really actively working to grow my career. So I'm really going to focus on an area of growth, which for me will be my career. And
Mhm.
that for me looks like stretching myself in terms of my skill set. And for me, what I think that means is pursuing things that are new, but also important to my growth as a professional. For example, having conversations with my colleagues about how I can stretch myself in areas that I don't usually have visibility into. Maybe that includes looking at stretching my change management skills. I've got a little bit of background in change management, but I think if I were to work on projects or work on initiatives that where I can spearhead some of those change management procedures, that will definitely give me more skills that I can just work with for the long term. And then
Mhm.
being intentional about pursuing opportunities for speaking engagements. I feel like I've come to love being in front of people and speaking about topics that I'm really interested in and passionate about, like, imposter syndrome and aligning our values to our career and, being confident in our abilities, not letting other people's opinions of us dictate that. So I'm actively seeking opportunities where I can speak to a crowd and about these things in hopes that I can inspire others to take action, because I think that's the best outcome for a speaker is someone listens to your message and they feel like, yes, I'm going to do this as soon as I leave here today. I just want to be part of that change. I am also pursuing the next step in my career. And certainly as that takes shape, I'll be sure to share more. So we'll just have to keep you posted and have you all stay tuned for now.
Perfect. Love that. I love that you're kind of setting that out in like sending it out into the universe, as it were, and going, this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's really important. Like, similarly to
Mhm.
yourself, like my kind of goals are I really want to grow my business into more of a corporate offering. I'm going to start bringing in like my former advertising skills, which actually happens to be in that change management space. So again, like I'm just
Ooh,
kind of developing. It's interesting how we kind of have a similarity, isn't it?
right?
Um, but like going into businesses and taking those skills along with my coaching skills to help them optimize their business and more importantly their people, so really
Brilliant.
helping them to like elevate that back end, because as a business leader, the mental load of having to like work out what's going on with the processes, your productivity and your people is a lot when you really need to be out there building your pipeline, getting that revenue in. So it's like, well, let me help you
Mhm.
with that. So that's really where I'm taking my business right now, but still coaching people
Wonderful.
individually one-to-one as well. So that's really important. And similarly, like you, I want to get more speaking stuff. I've developed my how to build confidence with the brave mind framework
Love it.
workshop, which I delivered, this year a few times, and with great response. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that, because that's something that I've actually created myself, and it's not something that I ever did in my career. So that's like really important for me to get that out there and share that framework, because it is really simple and easy to get. And I know people walk away with something, so that like, inspired to take action. Same thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, love that. So it sounds like we've got reasonably kind of similar goals, but mine's more in my business, yours more in your like career, working with other people. So let's see what next year like this coming year brings. Then, and we can have this discussion at the end of next year and just go,
I
right,
know.
what should we achieve? I'm so excited already.
I was just thinking that at this point next year, we will have to go back and listen to this episode and kind of check off the boxes and then give ourselves high fives.
Oh, that would be a good episode, actually. Yeah.
That would be, I mean, a virtual high five,
Yeah.
but that would be amazing.
You never know, I might be in New York.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to take this show on the road.
Abs-
Whether I come down there or you come up here.
Yeah.
We'll figure the logistics out, but that would be an amazing in-person episode for us to record and just really celebrate all the things that we've done individually and also together. So
Love that.
I'm really looking forward to that. Awesome. Well, we've talked about how we're gearing up for 2025. So now let's help all of you prepare for a plan for how you're going to be hitting the ground running in this new year. And, I've said it before, but we've both said it. Getting grounded in your values really is going to go a long way. So, thinking about what is important to you. And if you've never done a values inventory, Rachel's got a really great one that you can download. You can just check that out in the show notes.
Yeah, get that. That would be very helpful for you. And get really clear on your goal, what goals you want to achieve by the end of the year too, and your why, because
Mhm.
your why is so important. Like why are these goals important to you? You've got to keep asking yourself why until you get to the heart of that goal. Now, you mentioned before like losing weight. Well, why do you want to lose weight? Well, I want to look better in my
Right.
jeans. Well, why do I want to look better in my jeans? Because when I go out, I want to feel more confident. Well, why do you want to feel more
Mhm.
confident when you go out? Because I'm looking to find a partner, right? And then when you get to the your clarity, like, why do you want to find a partner? Because I want to get married and have children. Keep going down and down and down until you get to the why. And then you'll go, right, now I have the motivation to go and achieve that goal. We've got the real driving force behind that goal, and that's a super
Yeah.
important thing to do. Also, if anyone listening does opt to get the values worksheet download, I'll also send you a link to my Goals Made Simple masterclass and workbook to help you with that goals section, goals bit. So get the sheet, you'll get the extras.
Definitely download her sheet. It makes things so much easier. I'll also reiterate that giving yourself a timestamp for when you want to achieve things will not only help you stay on track, but it keeps you focused. And I don't know if you're like me, but I really enjoy checking things off the box. As soon as I've accomplished something or done something, give myself a little check so I can feel good and also see that being tracked. So it's
Yeah.
definitely nice to see that real-time progress. I'll also add, I think it's okay to pivot. Sometimes, you might start off the new year in one direction, but let's face it, life gets in the way and things happen. And sometimes you have to make tough decisions during in the middle of, reaching your goals. It's okay. I've had to do that more times than I can count. And some decisions have been difficult, some have been easier, some have just been different. But one thing I never let go of was the why, just like you're saying, why I want a particular goal and making sure that it aligns to my values and letting that become my compass instead of anything else. And that will help you make sure you're staying true to who you are, what you want. And this is really key. What do you want your professional journey to look and feel like? I don't know about you, but I don't see my life as being my professional life and my personal life. I see it more as an integration and I have different facets. So I want my professional life to be a meaningful part of my life. So it's just one life. And
Mhm.
here's my life. Here are all the different things that I do. And
Right.
these are the things that really mean something to me
Mhm.
because I am a selfless, passionate leader. So really think about that and just remember it's your story, not someone else's. So you have to be the driver of what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I mean, completely true. You are in control of your destiny, as one of my coaches says that if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Love that. Cheers all the way. I realized later in life that keeping my head down and working hard and giving control to someone else to promote me or lead me to a dream job just wasn't going to work. So don't give control of your career to someone else. You have to be the driver.
Yeah.
Friends, wherever you are in your career journey, our hope is that you can take away these insights from this episode. Just remember to write down what you would like to achieve and be sure to give that a deadline so you can stay on track with your goals. Also, if you have to pivot, just remember it's okay. Be sure to realign your new goals to your ultimate vision.
And, get clear about what your goals and intentions are for the year by taking time to reflect on what's really important for you to achieve in the next 12 months as an overall
Mhm.
goal. And then 3 smaller goals that ladder up towards that on the way using that 90-day block strategy, which is really handy. And remember to practice gratitude, because gratitude helps us focus forward and appreciate what we have as well as the lessons that we've learned, right? The more we practice gratitude, the more we see what's actually really possible and positive around us, the more we kind of then go, oh, okay, and I can keep going. If we sit in negative, we're going to attract more negative. If we sit in positive and we're grateful for what we've got, even the small things, we attract more positive, more amazing things into our lives.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said better myself, Rachel. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Leading Ladies Who Lunch podcast. And if we can leave you with a thought as we wrap up 2024, what does your ramp up to 2025 look like? Start making that list so you can kick the new year off right with a bang and make it loud, baby. If you like this episode, we would be so grateful if you can share it with your friends and be sure to tag us on social media at Leading Ladies Who Lunch. Your reviews of this podcast mean so much to us. We'd love it if you can rate it and subscribe to the show.
Remember, you can find us on and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. So subscribe to stay up to date with the latest episodes and follow us on Instagram at Leading Ladies Who Lunch.
All right. Stay tuned for another great episode in the new year in 2 weeks.
Until then, stay sassy. Thank you for joining us on the empowering journey at the Leading Ladies Who Lunch podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our insightful discussions, actionable strategies, and inspiring stories that we break down during each episode. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Leading Ladies Who Lunch on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And remember, the conversations you've heard on this podcast are just the beginning of your journey. Let your voice be heard, inspire change, and continue breaking barriers as you lead with authenticity, resilience, and unwavering determination.
Until next time, keep embracing your leadership potential, challenging the norms, and shaping a better world for women in the workplace. Leading Ladies Who Lunch, empowering women, changing lives.